The question hung in the air between them, fragile as glass. "Am I pretty, Dad?" 8-year-old Lily's voice trembled, her eyes, one brown, one blue, searching his face for the truth. Mark's heart shattered as he realized what his daughter was really asking. Am I worthy of love? If you've ever wondered how a single moment can change everything, stay with me. This is our story. Before we dive in, if this resonates with you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. Your support helps share stories like ours with others who might need to hear them. The first time I held Lily, she was wrapped in a pink hospital blanket, her mother's smile tired but radiant beside me. "She's perfect," Eliza whispered, and I nodded, unable to speak through the lump in my throat. We had no idea then that our perfect family would crumble just 4 years later. The cancer took Eliza quickly, too quickly for goodbyes, too quickly for me to learn how to be both mother and father to our daughter. One day we were planning summer vacation, and the next I was planning a funeral. Lily stopped speaking for 3 months after. When she finally did, her first words were, "When is Mommy coming back?" I didn't know how to answer, so I just held her until she fell asleep. The years that followed were a blur of school drop-offs, frozen dinners, and late nights spent Googling how to braid hair and what to do when your daughter cries and you don't know why. I was drowning, but trying desperately not to let Lily see. By the time she turned 8, I thought we were finding our rhythm. I'd learned to cook more than spaghetti. I could French braid her hair, sort of. I'd even started dating again, cautiously, quietly, when Lily was at sleepovers. Then came the day of the school play. Lily had been cast as a tree, not a speaking role, but she was ecstatic nonetheless. I helped her into her costume, a brown paper creation with green tissue paper leaves that we'd spent the weekend making. "You look great, kiddo," I said, adjusting one of the branches. She frowned at her reflection. "Maddie says I look weird." "Weird how?" "Because of my eyes. She says it's freaky." Lily had heterochromia, one chocolate brown eye like mine, one startling blue like her mother's. Eliza had called it her magic eyes, said it meant she could see both worlds at once. I hadn't realized other kids had noticed, or that they'd be cruel about it. "Your eyes are beautiful," I said firmly. "They're special, like you." She nodded, but I could tell she didn't believe me. After the play, I overheard a group of girls giggling, pointing at Lily. "Even as a tree she looks weird," one said. Lily pretended not to hear, but her shoulders hunched forward, making herself smaller. That night, she barely touched her celebration ice cream. When I tucked her in, she asked in a small voice, "Dad, why did Mom have to die?" The question blindsided me. We'd talked about Eliza's death before, but never like this, never with such raw pain in her voice. "I don't know, sweetheart," I answered honestly. "Sometimes terrible things happen that we can't understand." "If she was here, I'd be different," Lily whispered. "Different how?" "Better. Pretty. Normal." I sat on the edge of her bed, my heart breaking all over again. "Lily, look at me. You are perfect exactly as you are. You have to say that. You're my dad. I say it because it's true." She turned away, and I knew I was losing her, not to death like Eliza, but to something equally devastating, self-doubt. The next morning, I called in sick to work. When Lily came down for breakfast, I had her backpack ready. "Where are we going?" she asked, confused. "On an adventure," I replied. "Just us." We drove 3 hours to the coast, to the beach where Eliza and I had honeymooned, where we'd brought Lily as a baby. The same beach where we'd scattered some of Eliza's ashes. It was a cool spring day, the beach nearly empty. We walked along the shore, collecting shells and watching seagulls dive into the waves. "Mom loved it here," Lily said suddenly. She did. She said the ocean reminded her that some things are bigger than our problems. Lily picked up a smooth stone, turning it over in her palm. I'm forgetting what she looked like. I pulled out my phone, scrolling to a photo I kept close. Eliza, laughing on this very beach, her blue eye catching the sunlight. You have her eye, I said. Her exact eye. Lily studied the photo. Really? Really? And her laugh. And her kindness. We sat in the sand, and I showed her more photos. Eliza pregnant, Eliza holding newborn Lily, Eliza teaching 2-year-old Lily to build sand castles. She thought you were the most beautiful thing in the world, I told her. And she was right. Lily leaned against me, quiet for a long time. Then she asked, "Do you think she can see me?" "I do," I said, surprising myself with how much I meant it. "I think she sees you every day, and she's so proud of who you're becoming." We spent the day at the beach, building the biggest sand castle we could manage, eating ice cream for lunch because rules didn't apply on adventure days. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in pinks and oranges, Lily stood at the water's edge. "Dad," she called. "Yeah? I think Mom sent us this sunset." I joined her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "I think you might be right." That night, in a small motel by the beach, Lily fell asleep quickly, exhausted from our day. I sat watching her, wondering if I'd done enough, said enough. The next morning, we stopped at a small diner for breakfast before heading home. Our waitress, an older woman with kind eyes, set down Lily's chocolate chip pancakes. "My goodness," she said, looking at Lily. "What beautiful eyes you have. I've never seen anything like them." Lily blushed, but sat up straighter. "Thank you. I got one from my mom and one from my dad." "Well, they're absolutely magical," the waitress said before moving to the next table. Lily looked at me across the table, a small smile playing at her lips. She thought I was pretty. "Because you are," I said. "Inside and out." The change didn't happen overnight. There were still hard days, still moments when I caught Lily studying her reflection with uncertainty. But something had shifted. She started talking about Eliza more, asking questions, wanting to know everything about her mother. I found a support group for single parents, and Lily joined a children's grief program where she met other kids who'd lost parents. She became especially close with a girl named Zoe, who'd lost her father to a heart attack. One afternoon, I picked them up from Zoe's house to find them giggling over a magazine, both with makeup smeared across their faces. "We're practicing," Lily explained. "Zoe says when we're 13, we can wear mascara to school." "Is that so?" I raised an eyebrow at Zoe's mom, who shrugged with a smile. "Dad," Lily said as we drove home, "would Mom be okay with me wearing makeup someday? I think she'd say you're beautiful without it, but that it's fun to play with sometimes." Lily nodded, satisfied. That's what I thought too. 6 months after our beach trip, Lily's teacher called me in for a conference. I braced myself for bad news, but Ms. Chen was smiling when I arrived. "I wanted to show you something," she said, handing me a paper. It was an assignment titled, "My Hero," and Lily had written about me. "My dad is my hero because he fixed my world when it broke," she'd written. "He learned to do mom things and dad things. He tells me I'm perfect even when I don't believe him. He shows me pictures so I won't forget. He says my eyes are magic because they see both worlds." I couldn't speak, my vision blurring with tears. "She's thriving, Mr. Collins," Miss Chen said gently. "Whatever you're doing, it's working." That night, after dinner, Lily and I sat on the porch swing, a tradition we'd started on warm evenings. The neighborhood kids played kickball in the street, their shouts and laughter filling the air. "Dad?" Lily said, her head resting against my shoulder. Am I pretty?" The question caught me off guard, not because it was new, but because her voice held something different now, not desperation, but curiosity. I looked down at her upturned face, at her mismatched eyes that held so much of Eliza and so much of herself. You're beautiful, I said. But more importantly, you're kind. You're brave. You're smart. You're funny. You're strong. She considered this, then nodded. I think I'm all those things too. She paused. And I think I'm pretty. You are, I agreed. Like Mom was. Like Mom was, I echoed. And entirely like yourself. She smiled then, a full, unguarded smile that reached both her brown and blue eyes. In that moment, I knew we were going to be okay. Not perfect, life is never perfect, but okay. More than okay. Lily jumped up suddenly. Can I go play? She asked, nodding toward the kickball game. Go ahead. I watched as she ran to join the other kids, calling out to be included. A girl with pigtails, Maddie, I realized with a start, hesitated, then waved Lily over. They spoke briefly, then both laughed, and just like that, Lily was part of the game. Later, I would learn that Lily had approached Maddie at school, told her that her eyes were different because one was from her mom in heaven and one was from her dad on earth, so she could see both worlds at once. Maddie, impressed by this explanation, had declared it actually cool and appointed herself Lily's defender against anyone who said otherwise. Children, I was learning, could be both crueler and more forgiving than adults. As the sun set on our little street, casting long shadows across the yard, I thought about how far we'd come. 4 years ago, I'd been certain our world had ended with Eliza's last breath. I couldn't imagine a path forward, couldn't see how Lily and I would survive, let alone find joy again. Yet here we were. Not unchanged, we carried our grief like stones in our pockets, always there, but not always heavy. We had built something new from the ruins of our old life. Not better, not worse, just different. And increasingly, beautifully, our own. When Lily came back, flushed and happy from playing, she flopped down beside me on the swing. Good game? I asked. The best, she said. Dad, I've been thinking. Dangerous. She rolled her eyes, a gesture so teenaged it made me laugh. I'm serious. I've been thinking about Mom. What about her? I think she'd be proud of us. Both of us. I swallowed hard. I think so too. And I think, she hesitated, then plunged ahead, I think it's okay if you want to date someone. Like, for real. Not just when I'm at sleepovers. I stared at her, startled. How did you? Dad. I'm 8, not stupid. You put on cologne and your nice shirt and come home smiling. It's obvious. I laughed, shaking my head. You're too smart for your own good. I know, she said smugly. So? Is there someone special? There was, Sarah, a kindergarten teacher I'd met at a school fundraiser. We'd been seeing each other casually for a few months, but I'd been hesitant to introduce her to Lily, afraid of disrupting our fragile balance. There might be, I admitted. Would that be okay with you? Lily considered this seriously. As long as she's nice. And as long as she knows that you and me, we're a package deal. A package deal, I agreed, my throat tight with emotion. And she has to know about Mom. That we still love her and miss her. Always, I promised. Lily nodded, satisfied. Then it's okay. 2 weeks later, Sarah joined us for dinner. She brought Lily a book about a girl detective with heterochromia and asked genuine questions about Eliza, admiring the photos Lily proudly showed her. When she left, Lily gave her a tentative hug. I like her, she declared as we washed dishes. She laughs at your jokes even though they're not funny. Hey. It's true, Lily shrugged. Mom used to do that too. It wasn't always smooth sailing after that. Lily still had bad days, days when she missed Eliza so fiercely that nothing could console her. I still had moments of paralyzing doubt, convinced I was failing at this impossible task of raising her alone. But those days grew fewer. We found our rhythm, our new normal. Sarah became a regular presence in our lives, never trying to replace Eliza but creating her own place in our family. Lily flourished at school, made new friends, developed a passion for science that had her conducting messy experiments in our kitchen. On Lily's 10th birthday, we returned to the beach. It had become our special place, a yearly pilgrimage to feel close to Eliza. Sarah offered to stay behind, understanding this was our tradition, but Lily insisted she come. As we walked along the shore, Lily between us holding both our hands, she suddenly stopped. "Look," she said, pointing to where the waves met the sand. "It's perfect." A heart-shaped stone lay there, polished smooth by the ocean. Lily picked it up, turning it over in her palm just as she had 2 years before. "It's from Mom," she said with certainty. I might have once tried to explain it away, coincidence, pattern recognition, the human tendency to find meaning in randomness. But I'd learned some things don't need explanation. "I think you're right," I said instead. Lily placed the stone in her pocket and took our hands again. As we continued walking, she looked up at me with her mismatched eyes, Eliza's and mine, magic eyes that could see both worlds. "Dad," she said. "Yes?" "I'm happy." 3 simple words, but they contained everything: acknowledgement of our loss, acceptance of our new reality, hope for our future. In that moment, I knew that somehow, against all odds, I had managed to fix her world. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough. Enough for her to find beauty in herself and joy in her life again. And that, I realized, was the greatest achievement of my life. So if you're out there struggling, wondering if the broken pieces can ever fit together again, I'm here to tell you they can. Not in the same way, not without scars, but in a new way that can still hold beauty and love and hope. And if you're wondering if you're enough, pretty enough, strong enough, good enough, the answer is yes. You are. Just as you are. Thank you for staying with our story. If it touched you, please consider liking and subscribing to support more stories like ours. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is share our truths with each other, creating connections across the distances between us. Until next time, this is Mark and Lily, signing off.